Hi everyone, Robin here, and one player channel that is very common in the Pokemon YouTuber community is the Pokemon Nuzlocke. For those who don't know what that is, where have you been? There have been a billion of them out there. But anyway, a Pokemon Nuzlocke is a way you can play through a Pokemon game to make them more challenging, and many successful Pokemon YouTubers have made Nuzlocke themselves, and I decided I wanted to be a part of that. I did then attempt at a Pokemon Nuzlocke a while ago, and I was playing through Pokemon X. It was a long-term series with multiple different episodes. However, I never won it since I unfortunately lost to a battle against an executor. That was very bad. But I decided to come back with a vengeance and reclaim my throne. Well, I never had the throne in the beginning, but you get the point. I decided to attempt the Nuzlocke in Pokemon Fire Red, since I had quite a bit of experience with that game, and I felt like maybe I should step back a few generations and just stick to old-fashioned Gen 1. Before we dive into the Nuzlocke, these are the rules I've been using for this and most likely future Nuzlocke videos whenever they come. 1. I can only count the first Pokemon I encounter in each route or area, and I will also be implementing Nuzlocke. So whenever my first encounter is a Pokemon I already caught, or is a part of an evolutionary line I already caught, I'm allowed to skip it to get something new. 2. If a Pokemon faints, it will be considered dead, and then I have to permanently box it for the remainder of the Nuzlocke, and it can never be used for anything ever again. 3. I'm going to have to give all my Pokemon a nickname so I get more emotionally attached to them. 4. The level cap will be set to the gym leader's highest level Pokemon and to the highest level Elite Four member. Any Pokemon that levels up over the cap will have to be boxed until the cap has increased. 5. I can only use the same amount of Pokemon as the gym leader, so if they only use 2, I can only use 2, and if they use 4, I can only use 4. But that will be all for the intro stuff. So don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, hit the bell for notifications, and let's dive into my attempt at the Pokemon Fire Red Nuzlocke. The first major choice was the biggest starter, and I went for Charmander, since it's my favorite of the counter starters, and I thought choosing the starter with the worst hype magic against the first gym leaders could be a little bit more challenging. I named it Repferno. The name is combining the words reptilian and inferno, but it also a nod to the first Nuzlocke I posted in Pokemon X. Back then I chose the Charmander as well, and I named it Repferno. So this is Repferno coming back and once again trying to take on a Nuzlocke. Almost right away we had to take on our rival Gary, but I'm just gonna call him rival since the rival name is not really that important unless it's some kind of fun joke with it. However, since the Squirtle didn't know any water type moves yet, it was a pretty easy deal and we defeated him without too much problems. Then after running through the area really quick, I got my third Pokeball, so the run has officially begun. And my third encounter appeared on Route 1 and it became a Pidgey. I caught it in a little birdie, but I never intended using it since I eventually gonna have a flying type Pokemon in Charizard, so why should I have more? After that I got my way to Route 2, where my encounter became a Caterpie I caught and named Butter, and then in Viridian Forest I caught myself a Weedle I named Weed. I was a bit worried about the first gym, however on Route 22 I was luckily able to encounter myself a Mankey. I caught it and I gave it the nickname of Piglin. I decided to only train out with Repferno, Piglin, and Butter. Repferno since it's my starter, Piglin since it's gonna be useful against the first gym leader, and Butter since it can evolve into Butterfree very early, and it get a lot of moves that can inflict status condition, which will be helpful not only in battles, but also getting new encounters. So after a while of training, Butter eventually evolved into a Metapod and later on to a Butterfree. Then I decided I'm gonna take on my rival on Route 22. With a combination of Butter and Piglin, we were able to take it out without too many problems. After that, I got for the forest thanks to Repferno pretty much burning down any bug it saw, and eventually we got away to Pewter City and it was time for the first gym. For this battle, I kinda forgot to only have an equal amount of Pokemon to the gym leaders, so I just went in there with my entire team, so whoopsie. However, I ended up only using Piglin in this gym battle, so we were able to defeat Frog and getting a first gym badge only using one little monkey pig guy. After that, I continued on to Route 3, where my encounter became Jigglypuff. I wasn't really that excited about it since, well, Jigglypuff isn't really that powerful. But I was not going to miss an opportunity, so I just caught it and named it Puff. But not long later, I got my way to Mount Moon, and there my encounter became a Geodude I called and named Geo. This was a really good Pokemon to get, and I'm really happy that I didn't get anything worse. The only other encounter I could get is Cleffa, which is just the same as Jigglypuff, Zubat, which cannot become a Crowbat in this game, and Paris. That is bad because, well, it's a Paris. Then a while later of traversing through Mount Moon, Referno up to level 16 and evolved into Charmeleon. Then a while later, I ran into the Super Nerd, which I was able to defeat only using butter. After that, I was allowed to pick a fossil, and I just snapped the Helix fossil, so Lord Helix is amazing. After getting out of my moon, I got my way to Cerulean City to take out my rival once again. And it went very easily, with Geo taking out his Pidgeotto, Butter taking out his Squirtle, and Referno finishing off both his Abra and Rattata. After that, I continued onward on Route 24, where my next encounter became an Oddish. I was really excited to getting it, because I really need something that can help me just missed it. I caught it and named it Oswald. Then I continued onward to Route 25, where my encounter became an Abra. Abras are really tricky to obtain, but luckily with power of sleep powder, we were able to capturing it, and I named it Dream because I caught it while it took a nap. Both of these two were added to my squad since both of them can really become useful in their own rights. After that, I continued onwards, helped Bill with his Pokemon experiment, and after evolving Oswald into a Gloom, since it evolved right at the level cap. For this battle, Oswald was the obvious choice, but I also brought in Butter because I knew its causing status condition could really be helpful. I immediately put her story to sleep first, and a couple of confusions later was able to take it out, but I required 5 due to her using a super potion. Next was Stormy, and I decided to stay in just so I was able to put it back to sleep, but Swift did quite a large chunk, but we were able to make them take a nap. Then I brought in Oswald, and immediately I started going for Absorb to drain their energy, but they only stay asleep one turn. And then immediately they started hitting with Swift, but Absorb gave us enough recovery so we were able to take them out. After that, I continued onward down Route 5, and I also swam by the daycare to leave Dream there, just so we could get some levels. After that, I continued onward to Vermilion City, because I was aiming to obtain one of the most powerful Pokemon known to man. I was aiming to obtain Magikarp? Okay, I'm just kidding. Magikarp is obviously not that powerful, but its evolution Gyarados really is. Having a Gyarados in a Nuzlocke is really helpful, and with its Intimidate ability, it's just even better. So I picked up the overall, and immediately I was able to fish one up without too much problem, and I caught it, and I named it Woodjira. After that, I also picked up a ticket for my bike, and then I returned to Cerulean City to exchange my ticket for a bike, and since I have been running around for a bit, Dream was now only one level away from evolving into Kadabra, so I brought it out of the daycare and put Woodjira there instead so it could get its level itself. And then just one level later, Dream had evolved into a Kadabra. By the way, if you're wondering why I just didn't trade evolve it into an Arcanine right away, that is because I decided that I'm not gonna do that because that feels like a bit overpowered when it comes to trade evolution. I felt like waiting until they are at least level 30 because the other evolved into their fully evolved state around that time, so I felt like that would be a pretty fitting thing. Anyways, after a while of running around, Woodjira has finally reached level 19, so one rare candy later, it evolved into its fearsome final form of Gyarados. Right away, I immediately also taught it both Secret Power and Water Pulse just so it had somewhat of attacking moves. Anyways, after that, I continued onward and eventually took on my rival on board the SSN. However, with the power of my newly evolved Woodjira, I would knock him out quite easily, and after getting the cut TM from the captain, it was time to take on the next gym leader, Lieutenant Surge. Geode was pretty much the only thing I'm going to need, but I brought Oswald and the Refernos just in case. But that was not really required. Geode was able to annihilate the entire gym only using magnitude, and during the gym battle it leveled up once, so it actually would become a graveler. Anyways, after this I carried onward, and it wasn't long before I appeared in Rock Tunnel. While running around in the cave, I eventually encountered my next Pokemon, Onix, and I had Butter out in order to cause status condition and make it easier to catch. However, I didn't pay attention that they landed a couple of squishes on me, and eventually a 4-time super effective rock move eventually became the end of Butter the Butterfree, giving me my first step in this run, and it really stuck. I knew that Butters would not stay around for long since it unfortunately isn't that strong in the long run, but it was still really helpful with status condition, and I would have loved it to keep it around for as long as I could. But we're gonna celebrate as a fallen hero, and we will be carrying on his legacy. By the way, I also got the Onyx that killed Butter, but I'm not gonna pass up a catching opportunity. That's not how I do stuff. Anyways, after Rock Tunnel, I got my way to Lavender Town, but since there is nothing of importance here right now, I'm carried on my way to Celadon City. But on the way, Piglet got to level 28 and actually evolved into Primate. So we now have an even more angry monkey ape thing. Anyway, not long after that, I got my way to Cerulean City. And while I was here, I also picked up the gift Eevee, since I thought it would be really useful because if I decide to use it, I get to choose which evolution I would like it to become. I gave it the nickname of Scooby-Doo because what it's gonna evolve into, or if it's gonna evolve at all, is a complete mystery. By the way, I have decided during this I'm going to skip out on a few Pokemon that I have been capturing as encounters, but that is because those were never really important to the plot. But I decided to mention Scooby-Doo because they're gonna play a little plot role later on. Then after a couple more training, it was time for me to take on the next gym leader, Erica. I decided to bring Repferno, Dream, and Oswald. Repferno because it's fire power, Oswald because of its poison powers, and Dream because 2 of her Pokemon is poison type. She led with Victory Bell, which Dream took out with Psybeam. Then Repferno took out Tangela with Ember, and then, even though Dream got paralyzed and took some damage from Wild Boom, couple Psybeam finished it off, and I got myself my 4th gym badge. After that, I carried onwards into the Rocket Hideout in order to get the Silk Scope, and during that time, Geo got to level 30, so I felt confident enough to trade evolve with it, and I did it to Dream as well, so now I have both Alakazam and Golem. Then a while later, it was finally time to take on Giovanni in the Team Rocket Hideout. With Gerald knocked out both his Onix and his Rhyhorn, and against his Kangaskhan, Piglin annihilated it without any problems, knocking it out without any problems. After that, I got my way to Lavender Town, and there I took on my rival once again in the tower, and I managed to defeat his team with a variety of my team members. After that, I got my way to the top of the tower, where I met this man that was having problems with Team Rocket. After helping it, I gave him the Poke Flute, and that means it's Snorlax time. Snorlax is really powerful if I'm using it in the correct way. However, capturing it is quite tough though. I took on the one that was closest to Celadon since I felt like that would be the easiest to get, but unfortunately I was not able to get it, and that marked my first fail encounter. I could still obtain Snorlax on Route 12, however it was not guaranteed, but I still decided to go for it. This one I actually managed to capturing it, however since it wrecked through a barrage of Pokemon, I named it Wrecker. Then a while later, it was eventually time to take out Team Rocket that invaded Silco. And during that process, Repferno evolved into Charizard and also felt confident enough to use a Leaf Stone to evolve Oswald into Wild Boom, making my entire team fully evolved. Eventually, I had to take on my rival once again. However, using a large variety of different Pokemon, I defeated him without too much of an issue. Later on, it was time for another battle against Giovanni, but that wasn't too much of a problem because my team is incredibly powerful. Then after that, it was time for my next gym battle against Koga. For a team, Piglin and Oswald was benched here since they can't actually attack poison types, but that didn't end up mattering. because with the power of Dream, we were able to take Koga out without too much of a problem, giving me my 5th gym badge. After that, it was time for me to go on and take on the next gym leader, Sabrina. However, with them using Confuse Ray, making it harder for us to hit them, eventually they went for a Destiny Bomb, and we had to hit Bite on that turn, caused the Ghastly to fall, but taking Wujera with it, leading me with my second death of the Nuzlocke with a Pokemon I was super excited to have. But now, Wujera will rest in peace. After that, I took a step back in order to figuring out what next Pokemon I should bring. After this time of consideration, I decided to go for Breaker to Snorlax. While it's a normal type, it's very powerful and it could be useful in the next gym battle, since Psychic type does not handle strong physical attackers that well. Anyways, after that, it was time to take on the next battle against Sabrina. For the team, I had the Dream, Breaker, and Referno, since these three seems like the strongest Pokemon I have for the gym. For the final spot, I gave it to a Rattata and a Rat I got earlier, simply because in case I'm going to need a free switch, I decided to bring this one in just to stall for time. I know it may not seem honorable, but hey, you have to do what you have to do in Nuzlocke, people. I left with Dream and I immediately went for a Thief since it did quite a good chunk. I think set up a Calm Mind. That cost my second Thief to do less, but it was a 2-KO no matter what, so that didn't matter. Venomoth was immediately dispatched by Inferno's Flamethrower. Then came Mr. Mime, and I decided to use this opportunity to set up Calm Mind because I wanted to be as powerful as I could be for her, like I said. But we eventually got ourselves to +6 special attack and +6 special defense, so Thief immediately knocked down Mr. Mime, and our own Alakazam was easily dispatched afterward, so we were able to take her out without any casualties, which really made me relieved. After this, it was time for me to add on another water type on my team. Since water is really useful in a Candle playthrough, I really think I should have a water type Pokemon on the team. And the one I decided to bring on was a Tentacool I got in Cerulean City, which I had named Subscribe! Because if you watched it far into the video, that means you probably like my content, so why not subscribe it? You should. Please. I let it run around in the daycare for a bit, but eventually I had caught up to the rest of the team, so I evolved into Tentacool, giving me my new water type, which I never used before. So now you know what I was talking about during this time. I gotta go for Tentacool. I have fondness of this Pokemon because I used it in a playthrough, which you will see soon. No more spoilers. After that, I continued onward to Cinnabar Island, and after getting there and going through the Pokemon Mansion, it was time to take on Blaine. For my team, Subscribe and Geo was obviously here since they are the one with super effective stat, but I also brought in Inferno and Breaker since they are strong and Breaker resists fire due to its Fit Fat ability. However, I had a pretty good strategy against him and it was an easy one. In the battle, I left with Subscribe and immediately I went for Rain Dance. It was a clean swift which served 1-KOing every one of his Pokemon, bringing me victory. Afterwards, I met up with Bill, and then I was forced to go to the Sevi Islands, and I wasn't at my full team, since I bring the equal amount of Pokemon to the gym leader, so until I can get access to a PC, I won't be able to get any more Pokemon than the 4 I have on hand. So I finished up the plot without too much of an issue, and eventually it was time to take on the final gym leader, Giovanni. For the team I brought in was Subscribe, Oswald, Piglin, Dream, and finally Redfern. I didn't see that Breaker could do much in the gym, since he has a couple of rock Pokemon, and I was not confident in using Geo since they have a ground move which we are weak to. Just like against Blaine, I went for Rain Dance on the first turn, however, that allowed his first Rhyhorn to hit me with an Earthquake, which got me down super low, only to 30 HP. So while it was close, after that, Subscribe had pretty much clean sweeping range, because none of his Pokemon could take a Rain Dance boosted Surf, and all of his Pokemon fell to the Surfing Menace that is Subscribe. Just like you should be all a complete menace and smashing the subscribe button all the time. I brought Yield back on. It was time to get my rival once more before the league. However, once again, using a large variety of different Pokemon, I was able to defeat him without too much of an issue at all. Then, after a quick trip through the Victory Road, I finally got my way to the final destination, the Pokemon League. In the end, I felt so happy because I have finally reached the Elite Four. I have never gone this far in an Nuzlocke attempt ever, and I'm just so excited about it. But in order to win, I had to defeat the Elite Four and the champion. So after this, I did a little thing off camera since I needed to prepare my team as much as I could. However, during this process, while I was training in the Victory Road, Piglin, the primate, was hit too hard from a bone from a Marowak, so unfortunately that cost the team's third death, so yeah. But I need to focus. I wanted the team to go up into the Elite Four to be the very best team I have, since I really wanted to win. So, after some preparation and planning, I can finally introduce the final team. First is Inferno with Flamethrower, Blast Burn, Fly, and Dragon Claw. I gave it Dragon Claw simply because I needed some dragon coverage against land, and Blast Burn because I thought it would be good to have a strong stab move, so I decided to put it on. Next is to describe the Tentacle with Giga Drain, Surf, Ice Beam, and Toxic. 3 powerful moves that can do a lot of damage, and Toxic that can really be helpful to wear down stronger opponents in case it comes to it. Next was Dream the Alakazam with Psychic, Calm Mind, Steve, and Shockwave. Good stab and boosting move, plus other moves that can give some good coverage. Next is Geo the Golem with Rollout, Rock Slide, Earthquake, and Explosion. I know that having a move that causes you to go boom is a bit scary, but I decided to only use it in case I need it as a last resort measure. However, these were the final ones of the Pokemon that I had used previously that was going to the Elite Four, meaning I was not going to be using Breaker, the Snorlax, or Oswald the Vileplume. It's sad that I won't be able to get to the Elite Four with these two, but I felt like it would end in the end for the best. I actually never used Breaker in a battle at all, so even though it was on the team for some, it was never really used that much. But I still felt like it was kind of sad. And Oswald, while it will be helpful against the water type Lorelei has, it's also weak to the ice move they have, so I altered it up a bit. One of the Pokemon I put out was a gift Eevee I got all the way back in Celadon. But now let's unmask what Scooby-Doo Eevee has evolved into. Vaporeon? Hold on, I think this is another mask. Flareon? Wait, hold on.
The Evolution Brothers Umbreon?
Muzzletoff!
No, stop with it. Okay, the true final evolve from Scooby-Doo the Eevee is...
Jolteon?
That's right, Jolteon. The electric type is really useful in the Kanto Pokemon League, considering that Laura. And I really think electric is gonna just be a useful type overall. And with the moveset of Thunderbolt, Agility, Bite, and Thunder Wave, I think it's going to be able to do a lot. And the final Pokemon that joined the team is Sharp the Machamp, which I had gotten all the way back in the Sevi Islands, which I haven't brought up yet because they haven't really affected the plot. Going in with the moves Cross Chop, Brick Break, Earthquake, and Bulk Up, alongside its poison boosted Guts power, I think this team has a good chance of annihilating the entire Elite Four. But with all the preparations and levels out of the way, it's finally time to take on the final challenge. First was Lorelei, and she led with Dugong, and I led with Chop, and immediately annihilated the just boosted Cross Chop. Next was Slowbro, and I swapped into Scooby-Doo, which immediately one-shot with a Thunderbolt and closed it right after stalling a turn with Protect. Next was Jinx, and I swapped into Inferno, which annihilated with a Flamethrower, leaving her with only a Lapras, and I brought Scooby-Doo back in. I knew that Lapras has Confuse Ray, so I thought that might cause trouble, but I gave Scooby-Doo a Prison Berry in advance, so that wouldn't be a problem. However, we hit him with a Thunderbolt, we got him low, but they only went for a Surf. Luckily, their Citrus Berry got them out of healing range, so one more Thunderbolt finished Lapras off, giving me a quick first win. Next was Bruno, and this one was even easier. Subscribe annihilated both of his Onyxes with Surf, and his remaining fighting type was immediately dealt with the power of overpowered Psychics. Next was Agatha, and I brought in Dream here again, and I knocked her first Gengar out without too much problem, but when she swapped into Golbat, I decided to use this time to just set up a little bit of Calm Mind. After that, I pretty much annihilated her entire team with overpowered Psychic, getting another easy win. Finally was Lance the Dragon Master, which I had the impression would be the toughest of the bunch. He led with Gyarados and I led with Scooby-Doo and immediately one-shot with a Thunderbolt. Next he swapped into his Dragonair as I swapped into Referno, which was able to finish it off with a couple of Dragon Claws. Next was Aerodactyl, but I didn't want to switch Scooby-Doo or subscribing since I was afraid they might get hurt, so I went with Geode instead, which was able to take Aerodactyl down without any problems because he couldn't do much to our incredible defense. He then swapped into his second Dragonair, and I brought Referno back in and knocked it out with a couple of Dragon Claws, leaving him with only his Dragonite left. However, I swapped it to Subscribe, and then with a 4-time super effective Ice Beam, we took down Dragonite, officially defeating the entire Elite Four without a single casualty. However, nothing is set in stone, so in order to see if I can actually do it, it was time to face off against my final challenge, my rival, and the winner takes all. He led with Johto, and once again I led with Geode, which took it out without any problem whatsoever. Next was his Rhydon, so I swapped it to Subscribe, which was able to one-shot it with a Surf. Next was his Alakazam, and I brought in Dream here because I didn't have much of another options. I was set up with a Calm Mind in first turn, just getting him more powerful, and eventually I finished off with 2 Thieves, leaving him only with 3 Pokemon left. Next was his Arcanine, and I decided to give Shop some more time to shine since I haven't used it at all ever since Dugong in the beginning. However, Arcanine's Flamethrower did a lot, and Earthquake only did around half, so it forced me to switch, so I swapped into Geode again, which was able to take 2 Flamethrower without too much of an issue, but we able to finish it off with a Rock Slide. Next was Blastoise, and I brought in Scooby-Doo again, and was able to take it out with 2 Thunderbolts as they only set up a rain dance. This only leaves him with 1 more Pokemon left, Exeggutor, the very same Pokemon that finished my first Nuzlocke posted in Pokemon X, and it's time for vengeance. Referno's Flamethrower was not able to KO due to the rain, but it got it all the way to half as they hit him with the Sleep Powder. I immediately got rid of Sleep as they hit him with an Egg Bomb, but then once I clicked that glorious Blast Burn, I knew that I had defeated my rival and officially won my first Pokemon Nuzlocke. This was such an incredible experience. I loved this, and this gonna always treasure in my memory. The incredible squad that came with me into the end was amazing. Snorlax and Vileplume was also incredible. We totally saw a spot on here. And of course, we cannot forget the 3 loyal warriors that came without all this way, but unfortunately would not be able to get to the end. Butter, Ujira, Piglin, we salute to you all, and this has just been an incredible journey. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!